This is a story I learned from my grandmother. It's called The First Story. And the version I'm going to tell you comes from the Republic of Georgia. Once there was, once there was, once there was not. Once there was a little boy who loved to listen to stories. He would sit around the campfires at night with his elders, listening as they wove tales and legends and myths of the people. He would listen till the night faded away, and the fires died down, and the glowing embers pulled a black blanket of soot over their heads, and even the fires went to sleep. And the years went on, and the boy listened and listened to stories. But one day, when he got to be a young man, one of the elders turned to him and said, "You've listened to our stories for many years. It's time for you to tell us a story. Perhaps one that you heard us tell a long time ago." And the young man stood up and rubbed his hands together and said, I couldn't tell you a story. I wouldn't know where to begin." And the old man said, "Oh, all stories sound the same. They start the same. It's like this. Once there was, once there was, once there was not." Now what that means is, what's true twice might not be true the third time. Or what's true for two people might not be true for the third person. Start. And the young man nervously rubbed his hands together again and said, once there was, once there was. And he looked up and said, no, what if I forget the words? And the old man smiled and said, "That's fine. A story's a letter that comes from the past, and we add our words to it, and we send it on to the future. Start." And again, the young man stood there. Once there was, once there was. And he looked around at those faces that had told him stories for all those years. The lines in their faces were creases of beauty and wisdom. And the young man couldn't say a word. And he just stood there. And finally the old man looked at him and said, "Tell us a story or leave." People who listen to stories but don't tell them are like people who reap the harvest but never sowed the seeds. They're like people who pick the apples but never tended the tree. Tell us a story or go. And in that moment, the young man found the stories that already lay in his heart. And he started his first